Ok, donc bonjour, bienvenue. Bienvenue. Aujourd'hui, c'est le mercredi 18 novembre. So again, here's our goal. Here's our objectif for the next week or so, a couple weeks. In a letter to a pen pal, I can introduce myself. All right. And so I really look forward to seeing what y'all can do with this. I'm really excited about the idea of having y'all have pen pals in France. We're setting it up. And even if you decide not to do that, because it's optional, I still look forward to seeing you introduce yourself in a letter to an imaginary person, okay? I hope you all are doing well. I hope you checked in with Rhythm this morning. And if you didn't do it this morning, if you could do it after class, that would be really cool. We care about y'all and we wanna check in with y'all. We can't really do that like we used to. Ok, donc aujourd'hui, on va commencer avec Dolly Parton. C'est qui? Se présenter, quel âge as-tu? Les chiffres de 1 à 20 et puis se décrire. Okay, so I always like to start you all off with something a little random. C'est qui Dolly Parton? Ok, donc se présenter en français, ok? Donc nous avons ce dialogue, so we have this dialogue of introducing ourselves, and we're going to add a third part to it. So we started off with this one, and then we added a second part. Now we're going to have a third part to it. I just wanted to take a moment also to remind you of this banque d'expression and to encourage you to keep adding to it. I'm going to ask you specifically to add to it today, but as we go through this stuff, please use this as your notes, a place to kind of keep track of all these expressions we're learning. So for example, comment t'appelles-tu? Or je m'appelle, you know, this would be a great space to put that. So d'où es-tu, right? Where are you from? That would be another great thing to include there, all right? And I'll be asking you to turn it in towards the end of the unit, all right? Ok, donc salut, je m'appelle Amandine. Et toi, comment t'appelles-tu? Moi, je m'appelle Saïd. Bonjour Saïd, ça va? Oui, ça va bien. Et toi? Oui, ça va. Puis la deuxième partie, d'où es-tu, Amandine? Moi, je suis de Paris, mais ma famille vient de Marseille. Et toi, d'où es-tu? Moi, je suis de Lille, mais ma famille vient de Paris. Ah, d'accord, je vois maintenant pourquoi tu as un accent parisien. Je vois maintenant. OK. Donc, d'où es-tu? D'où es-tu? So let's add on a third part. And if I could, I'd love to get a volunteer for this. Anybody feeling brave? You can raise your hand.
Hello.
Yay, okay. Ok, oui, ok. Donc, tiens, Saïd, quel âge as-tu? Tiens, hey, tiens, Saïd, quel âge as-tu? Moi, j'ai 18 ans. Mon anniversaire, c'est le 20 mai. Et toi, tu as quel âge? J'ai 16 ans. Mon anniversaire, c'est le 13 octobre. Je suis donc du signe de la balance. Et toi, tu es donc du signe du taureau. Ouais, mais je ne crois pas à l'astrologie, moi. Okay, so I just repeated it for the recording, but excellent, yes. So what is Amandine asking here? What's she asking? What's she asking?
Birthday?
Kind of, yeah. Birthday or?
Age.
Age, Quel âge as-tu? Quel âge as-tu? Right, quel âge as-tu? What's your age? How old are you? So in French, you can say, and let's practice pronunciation. Quel âge as-tu? Tu as quel âge? Tu as quel âge? Quel âge as-tu? Okay, so you're asking folks what their age is. And Saeed, how did Saeed respond? How old is Saeed? And you can put it in the chat if you'd rather not speak, that's okay. How old is Saeed?
I want to say 16.
Close, close. Amandine is 16. Amandine is 16. J'ai 16 ans. And then yes, I'm seeing some folks in the chat, 18. He's 18. J'ai 18 ans. J'ai 18 ans. We'll review that in a moment, so don't worry. I just wanted to see how you're able to recall that. Okay, but we'll review numbers, all right? So, moi, j'ai 18 ans. Oops. J'ai 18 ans. I'm 18. Amandine, j'ai 16 ans. I'm 16. And you're seeing something a little different, right? They're not saying I am 16 or I am 18, right? It's kind of like in Spanish, for those of you who know Spanish as well. It's not I am this age, it's what? What are they saying? So j'ai is not I am, but I have. You got it. Yep, somebody got it in the chat. I have. So again, in French, it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange. What age do you have? I have 18 years. It doesn't translate very smoothly, okay? But it means what we think it means, where it says, okay, how old are you? Quel âge as-tu? Tu as quel âge? J'ai 18 ans, or j'ai 16 ans. And then somebody picked up on the birthday part, okay? The birthday. Mon anniversaire, c'est le 20 mai. When is Saeed's birthday? This is just kind of extra. This is not what we're...
May.
May, yeah, yeah. It's in May, and it's the... Does anybody recognize that number? 20, yep. It's the 20th of May. Yeah, so Saeed's birthday is May 20th. Mon anniversaire, c'est le 20 mai. Okay. How about Amandine? When is her birthday? Mon anniversaire, c'est le 13 octobre. Close, close. I'm seeing October 30th. October, yes. And you're right with the 3 part. Le 13. 13th, there you go. 13th, okay? 13th. October 13th. Okay. And so then she follows up with, je suis donc du signe de la balance. What do you think that might be? Le signe de la balance. What's she talking about here with signe de la balance and signe du taureau? This is not necessary. This is just extra, cultural. People are talking about birthdays and talking about signs. I'm probably talking about l'astrologie. Yeah, la balance is the scales. You got it. Yeah, somebody got it. La balance is the scales, or a swing. Une balance can be the swing, okay? But scales, so measurements, Libra, we call it Libra in English, okay? And then taureau is going to be the bull, or Taurus, okay? So she's talking about astrology here. And so she's listening to Saeed and saying, oh, your birthday is May 20th. Okay, so you're a Taurus and I'm a Libra because I'm born in October. And Saeed's like, yeah, but I don't really do that astrology stuff. Okay. I'll put a document on Canvas for y'all if you are curious about the astrology in French. I'll put it up there, but it's just extra. Okay. Most importantly, quel âge as-tu? Quel âge as-tu? J'ai 18 ans, j'ai 16 ans. Okay. So let's practice counting. Can I get a volunteer to count for us from 1 to 5? I'll pause recording. practice on the recording. OK. Donc, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope you all are practicing at home. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it gets a little weird here, right? It gets a little weird around 17, 18, 19. So it kind of is logical up through here. And then all of a sudden they decide to start going for 10, 7, 10, 8, 10, 9, 20. Okay. Yeah. And if I'm having you practice these, it's so that you can talk about your age, right? So let's take a moment and I'll send you off into breakout rooms for about 2 minutes, just real quick. And you're going to ask each other, you're going to greet each other and then ask each other your age and say your age. So one more time, will somebody put it in the chat? How do you say, how old are you in French? How do you ask someone's age? Or you can say it out loud if you prefer. So it's right there. So, quel âge as-tu? Quel âge as-tu? Or, tu as quel âge? Okay, and then you're going to respond with j'ai, and then the number. J'ai 16 ans, right? J'ai 16 ans, or j'ai 15 ans. And I'll go ahead and go back to this one in case you want to take a screen cap. I know that might help. So I'll take a beat and then I'll send you all off into breakout rooms for 2 minutes to practice this. Okay, so yesterday we talked about descriptions of people, right? We practiced describing Winnie the Pooh. Il est sympa, il est sympathique, il est imaginatif, il n'est pas sportif. And Mulan, oui, ça Mulan, elle est audacieuse, elle est ambitieuse, courageuse, elle est intelligente, elle n'est pas paresseuse. Okay, so we saw a few examples of that. What I'd like to do is today, I'm going to give you some extra words and we're going to talk about how they change when gender changes. And then I'd like you to add some of them to your expression bank. OK. Donc, je vous présente quelques adjectifs qui vous aideront à décrire les gens, donc décrire la personnalité des gens. Et dans les 3 panneaux qui suivent, choisis un adjectif, forme masculine et féminine, que tu ajouteras à ta banque d'expression. So what I'm asking you to do here is to take some of the words on the slides that follow and add them to maybe this slide or this slide maybe as kind of words that you want to use. And in French, gender obeys a strict binary, masculine or feminine, whether it's a table, a bottle, a person, or an adjective, right? So in French, they obey that strict binary, but I wanted to make some space to let y'all know, like, that's not necessarily a thing as much as it used to be. We do recognize people who are non-binary, people who are fluid, et cetera, et cetera. And in French, there's the pronom yel. And so I'll put that in the chat as well. So you can use yel if you don't know a person's gender. Or if they're non-binary. This is the most commonly used one for now. Who knows how it'll change, but for now. And you can use it like il, elle, on. So yel regarde la télé. Okay. And when we start going into verbs, you'll see I'll include yel as part of the conjugation. All right. So I just want to let y'all know that with adjectives, it does obey that strict binary. I haven't quite figured out how adjectives work in French for folks who are non-binary. I'm still learning. But I just want to let you all know that is a thing before we go into then looking at adjectives that are strictly masculine or feminine. All right. So for these adjectives, What I'd like is for you to take one from each of these 3 slides. So this is slide 1, there will be a second and a third slide. Take one of these adjectives to add to your expression bank, okay? Donc, sérieux, sérieuse. Batman est très sérieux, par exemple. Batman, Batman est très sérieux. Paresseux. Vinnie l'ourson est assez paresseux. Vinnie l'ourson, il est assez paresseux quand même. A little lazy. Il est assez paresseux. Ambitieux, ambitieuse. Moulin est très ambitieuse. Moulin est une personne très ambitieuse. Et puis généreux, généreuse. Donc Dolly Parton est très généreuse de donner son argent pour la recherche des Covid, de la vaccine. Ce cas, sérieux, sérieuse, paresseux, paresseuse, ambitieux, ambitieuse, généreux, généreuse. And I do not want you to add all these. If you want to, you can, right? But I'm asking you to add one from this list. Pick one to add to your bank. OK, pareil ici. Actif, active. Donc, Vinnie l'ourson, il n'est pas très actif. Il n'est pas actif. Il n'est pas actif du tout. Moulin, par contre, elle est très active. Elle est sportive. Elle est très sportive. Donc, actif, active. Sportif, sportive. Vinnie l'ourson est très naïf. Il est très naïf. Il est très innocent et un peu, voilà, un peu naïf. Naïf, naïve. So naïf, a person who is naive, so we have this word in English too, right? It's somebody who's very, very innocent and almost oblivious, like unaware, right, of what's happening. Okay. Imaginatif, imaginative. Okay, so take one of those. It's like a buffet of French adjectives. OK, et puis enfin, amusant, amusante. Amusant, fun, something that's fun or funny. Amusant, amusante. Patient, patiente. Rapunzel est très patiente. Rapunzel, c'est une personne très patiente qui attend dans sa tour pour sa mère. She's very patient, right? And waiting for the right moment to run away from her mother. Rapunzel. Elle est très patiente. Elle est intelligente aussi. Intelligent, intelligente. Intéressant, intéressante. Les chansons de Dolly Parton sont très intéressantes. Les chansons sont très intéressantes. Okay. All right. So hopefully you've picked one from each of these 3 slides to kind of add to your bank. You're welcome to add more, but I really want to keep it to 3 as the absolute. You want to come away with at least 3 more. Now, what are some patterns you're seeing in these? So if we just look at these, EUX, sérieux, paresseux, ambitieux, généreux. Sérieuse, paresseuse, ambitieuse, généreuse. Are y'all seeing a pattern there? No? So the pattern that we're seeing here is sérieux, sérieuse, paresseux, paresseuse. We've got words that end in EUX, so adjectives. In masculine, they end in EUX. In feminine, they're going to change to EUSE. Okay. heureux, heureuse, sérieux, sérieuse, généreux, généreuse. Okay. And there are other ones. This isn't exhaustive. It's not an exhaustive list. What about right here? Do you see a pattern with these? Actif, active. Naïf, naïve. Any patterns you're seeing here? You want to put it in the chat, maybe?
The feminine ones usually end with E.
Yeah, feminine ends in E for sure. Yeah, so we're seeing in the masculine, this is a set of adjectives that end in IF, right? Actif, sportif, naïf, imaginatif. So IF, and then in the feminine, it's going to go IVE, active, sportive, naive, imaginative. And these look a lot like ones in English because we've borrowed them, right? Naive, we've borrowed that word from French into English. Imaginative, we've borrowed that word from French, right? So that's the pattern here. And then finally with this one, like you'd said, it usually ends in E. So we've got amusant, amusante, patient, patiente, intelligent, intelligente, intéressant, intéressante. And there's one big difference here. It's just one letter, but it makes a big difference in pronunciation. Are you noticing a pattern with pronunciation here? Between patient and patiente. Okay, well, tell you what, in French, a lot of times the last letter you won't pronounce, right? So here, intelligent, it doesn't sound like there's a T at the end there, does it? The T is silent. But here, if you put an E at the end, all of a sudden, intelligente, intelligente, all of a sudden you're pronouncing that T. Okay, so intéressant, intéressante, all right? So I wanted to kind of bring up those patterns and ask you all to take some of those words, take some of those adjectives to put in your expression bank. And tomorrow we'll work with some examples. I'll give you all some examples of these, okay, in practice. Kind of like here. Il est sympa, il est imaginatif. Elle est audacieuse, elle est intelligente. Okay. Donc, pour demain, faites la description des 4 personnages dans la banque d'expression. Donc, pour demain, décrivez Bob l'éponge, Wonder Woman, Garfield et Miss Marvel. Décris la personnalité de ces 4 personnes. Try to describe the personality of each of these people. And if you could use at least 2 adjectives for each of them. At least 2. Okay. And then tomorrow we'll meet and we'll talk about the descriptions you did, and we'll see some more examples of these adjectives in practice. Okay. All right. I will stick around for questions, but if there aren't any right now, I will say au revoir for the recording. And yeah.